Good morning, church family. My name is Michelle. I serve as the outreach director here at Windsor Road. I want to say happy Mother's Day to all the moms and mother figures listening. And I pray that God's Spirit overflows your day with beauty, with joy, with belly laughter, and a supernatural peace in the midst of your circumstances. I also want to give out a special shout out to the kids in our program, in our Ignition program. I want you to know that I have been thinking about you and praying for you very intensely, and I just cannot wait to see your smiling faces again. Today, as we continue to study in the book of Habakkuk, I'm going to share some examples of what waiting with hope has looked like in my life. And my prayer is that as you hear this, my story, that you're reminded of God's faithfulness in your own, and that you share those God victories with the people around you. Because now more than ever, I really strongly believe that we need to brag on our God. We need to brag about what he has done, what he's doing, and what he's going to do. This is the way that we spark boldness and courage in each other as we brave through this season of transformation that we're in. So it's with this intention that I share my story. I want to start by reading a post that I posted on Facebook on January 28th, 2016. And I posted this right after yet another hardship in a season of intense suffering. This is what I posted. People often make the false assumption that when you move towards God, your life will be easy and trouble-free. That has not been my experience. In the past 6 years, as my faith and spiritual growth have taken higher priority in my life, I have faced more difficulties and near-death experiences than all years before combined. The difference is the peace and comfort I have in the midst of those hardships. With each new traumatic event, I am reminded that God is in total control of my life and that he will work out everything, not only for my good and for the good of those around me, but also for the good of those so many others in ways that I will never know in this lifetime. This truth is not something I believe blindly. It is one I know with my whole being precisely because of those hardships. Yesterday I was in another accident and my car was totaled, but I went home without a scratch. What do I feel? I feel gratitude. I'm thankful for the physical protection that I received. I'm thankful for all the things that could have gone wrong and didn't. And I'm thankful for the future blessings that this accident will bring. Church family, by the end of that year, on December 23rd, our miracle baby Mariana was born. And 13 months after that, Robbie joined our family. Many of you know that my journey to motherhood was a 7-year roller coaster ride. It was a roller coaster ride of brokenness and blessings. There was miscarriages, failed adoptions, coping with addictions, health complications, and financial and career setbacks. But all of this was weaved into the grand rescue story of my soul. Because you see, it was also during these 7 years that I met Jesus, and I began to lay my hurts, habits, and hang-ups at his feet. It was during this time that I allowed him to enter my heart so that he can heal it. And it was also during this time that I experienced the power of authentic community through Celebrate Recovery and other spaces of vulnerability. I learned to truly connect with others by allowing myself to be seen, my strengths and my mess. And I learned to trust the painful process between no longer and not yet. My life verse is Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. God has fulfilled this promise in my life over and over again. Through all the seen and unseen attacks of the enemy, God was and is faithful, and he does not change, not even in a pandemic. For those of you who have been through significant hardships in the past, I want you to go back and remember God's protection, his provision, and his presence during those times. He will do it all again and even more. And for those of you who are experiencing God's refining fire for the first time, I'll share this piece of advice. Allow yourself to dream. Share those dreams with the people around you that you trust. And start taking small actions that are consistent with those dreams. I'll give you an example of what that's looked like. So during the years of infertility that we faced, a friend of mine gave me the advice to start buying baby items. And at first I thought that was ridiculous and dismissed the idea. But the thought wouldn't go away after she planted it. And eventually I did. I started buying baby items before my kids were born. And Rob and I also spend like a couple of weeks coming up with our kids' names in this barren season. And for our 10-year anniversary in 2015, we declared it the year of travel and adventure. Something we just knew that once we were parents, we were going to be able to do all of this stuff. And, it was only because the voice of God was speaking so loudly in our hearts that we can press on with this active hope for 7 years. I believe God is inviting many of us to dream big dreams in the midst of this pandemic. And I don't say that because I'm unaffected by what's happening. My family and friends live in New York City, and I have lost loved ones to this virus. People I love dearly are suffering and are scared. My heart is burdened by all the loss, the despair, the abuse, the poverty, the injustices of this world. I feel them very deeply, and I cry often. And here at home, I'm stumbling through parenting a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old while my husband serves our country apart from us. This pruning process is hard, it's often lonely, and it can be scary. But God is still working. He is still good. He is still faithful to his promises. So in the midst of grieving the suffering, I'm also very excited for the new normal that's unfolding. And I invite you to dream God-sized dreams in this season. Believe that he will make a way as you move towards those dreams, even when everything around you says, no way. This is the time to live out with our words and with our actions what we actually believe. And that is this. Where our powerful Creator leads, there's treasure far better than anything left behind. So let's lock arms together and put one foot in front of the other, knowing that we are not powerless, even if we often feel like we are. I'll end with this prayer for all of us. My prayer is that we never forget God's faithfulness, that we remember his blessings and the unexpected gifts that often come wrapped in pain and in sorrow. I pray for the strength and courage to stand our ground and finish our race, that we can talk the talk because we have walked the difficult walk, that we can encourage somebody to believe the improbable because we have lived the impossible. And I pray that when the devil shoots those fiery darts of fear and hopelessness, that we respond like Habakkuk in chapter 3, 17-19. Though the fig tree does not bud, and there are no grapes on the vines, though the olive crop fails, and the fields produce no food, though there are no sheep in the pen and no cattle in the stalls, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will be joyful in God my Savior. The sovereign Lord is my strength. He makes my feet like the feet of a deer. He enables me to tread on the heights. Thank you for listening to my story.